Your business exists because you had the idea to start it. Everything begins in our minds. That's why your business results cannot outgrow your current level of thinking. Do you want to serve more clients, make more money, without working more or burning yourself out? Grow yourself first as a leader of your business, because that's who you are, a leader, even if you're the only person in your business right now. When you lead yourself first, the business results will always follow. My name is Maggie Perotin. I'm an international business and leadership coach, an expert in business mindset, strategy, and high performance. I created the Diamond Effect podcast to help you elevate your thinking, expand your perspective, and through it, grow your business without overwhelm. So let's get started. Hello, my dear Diamond Effect podcast listeners. Welcome to episode 259. Today, I want to talk about client acquisition and the way I think about it and the way I help my clients build a client acquisition engine that's a whole system optimized to the maximum as part of my sustainable scale system process that I use with my clients to help them build businesses worth selling without overwhelm and without burnout. But first, let me give you a little bit of background about myself in case that's the first episode you are listening to and you haven't heard and you have no idea who I am. So my name is Maggie Perotin. I'm a business and leadership coach, and a lot of my background comes from corporate business operation that was complex, fast-paced, with hundreds of people delivering services across North America on a business model that was quite lean, with high quality delivery, but also tight margins. So in my corporate world, our business line wasn't operating in a luxurious high-end market where the margins were high. Our margins were very tight, yet the client's expectations were really high. So we had to really master running a lean business. And by lean, I don't mean cheap with low quality. I mean optimized with the expenses really thought through and intentional when they needed to go to deliver high quality service at the minimum price possible. So for example, our technicians, service providers were paid really well. Whole staff was paid well. Everybody had benefits. People were treated well, so that we could attract the best talent out there and ensure that we have high quality delivery because we had skilled people doing that. And then, of course, we had processes and technology and systems and other people supporting them to achieve that goal. I bring all that experience and adapt it to my clients who are small to medium-sized business owners or CEOs. And because when you run a lean, high-quality service business, you need to look at things holistically to optimize them properly. I take that holistic approach to my clients. But today, I just want to focus on client acquisition because I've been seeing that many business owners look at that in a very segmented and fragmented way. And they think about marketing and lead generation strategies as separate things, and they treat them as a number of disjointed strategies. And then they don't connect it well to their sales process. And what it does, it makes client acquisition more expensive. And it also lowers the conversion rate. So I see business owners taking a lot of time and effort at the front end to acquire leads. But then because things are not optimized or not working together well, their conversion rate is lower than it should be. Therefore, they're wasting money, time, and work themselves much more than they should because of it. So there are three main buckets that go into a client acquisition engine. First is effective marketing and lead generation. Of course, you need to have new interested potential client coming your way or you meeting them where they are to then be able to convert them. The second bucket is consistent and valuable nurturing. And that I see is mostly neglected by small businesses. They don't even think about it or they underestimate the value of it. And then the third bucket is, of course, effective sales process that allows you to convert as many of these leads as possible into paying and loyal clients. I explain each of those buckets in detail. So at the end, you will know what it takes to build and scale a sustainable business without you overworking yourself, and especially from the client acquisition perspective. And you will be able to then assess what you have right now against my framework and then identify gaps that you'll be able to fill. So stay on because this episode is very, very valuable and you might just be able to catch some holes when you're leaking leads or when you're losing opportunity and leaving money on the table. Okay, bucket number one, it's effective marketing and lead generation. And here is my philosophy about this part of the system. You need a combination of organic low-cost marketing strategies or tactics that work really well for you with then, as you grow and scale your business, paid strategies that will balance the cost of individual client acquisition. So it's not going to be too high, but also give you leverage of paying for lead acquisition rather than spending time doing it, right? While organic marketing lead generation activities are low cost, they're not free. You still need to pay little things, whether it's networking fee or website upkeep or whatever that may be. But it might cost you more time to do them. Whereas with the paid marketing strategies, you put money into them, but that should save you a lot of time. But let's go one by one. So organic marketing and lead generation activities, there's a lot of benefits to doing that, especially if you're in the beginning of your journey. Because when you do that as a business owner, as CEO, it forces you to learn a lot about your client and become obsessed about them and know them inside out. Not only who they are in terms of demographic, but also what problems they have that lead them to seeking services like yours, how those problems show up in their life, what desires and needs they have, how do they talk about those. And then as you learn all of that, you get to figure out how you position yourself, how you message the value of what you offer in relation to your ideal client's needs, desires, and problems. So I always recommend to the new business owners to lean into that. As an entrepreneur, as a CEO, you will do yourself a huge favor if you master marketing and sales. This is the skill set that you cannot outsource 100% and have no clue how they work, because it's all about your client's psychology. It's all about understanding your client, how they think, how they live, what's important to them, how they make decisions that will help you not only in acquiring them, but then delivering a better service. And yes, that takes time to figure out, especially if you're doing it on your own, no coaching support like myself that can slash that learning curve in half or 10 times fold, but it's still worth it. And how you want to approach it is not just pick 20 random tactics and go ahead and throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. You do want to create a strategy of cohesive tactics chosen in relation to your services, your market, your ideal client, and also your strengths and the circumstances your business is in already. You might be in business where you have a vast network of connected people, and then networking could be that amazing organic opportunity for you to be visible, get in front of your ideal clients, generate leads. Or you might be a local business where a combination of Google profile, website, networking, and some local event could be the powerful one, right? So it's not just about doing random things. It's about being strategic about it, learning what works, amplifying that, getting better and better in that. But organic marketing allows you to also lower the cost of client acquisition. Of course, part of it is then as you serve your clients and they love you and they come back, they'll refer you to others. But if you're starting, you're not there yet. And even if you're established and you could be a 7-figure business, you do not want to rely just on that and get complacent because times changed. And if you want to truly grow and scale, that will not be enough to, let's say, replace the natural attrition where some clients will stop coming to you for service because they moved, they changed service providers, or whatever the case might be. And then your need for growth, right? You need more than just referrals and people finding you on Google. Then the second part of effective marketing and lead generation is the paid route, whether it's through ads, sponsorships, or hiring an agency to do some lead generation for you. This will work really well once your business is more established for 2 reasons. A, by then you would have had a proof of concept that your services are valuable, people are buying it, but also you would have known and established your ideal client profile and how to connect with them, position yourself, your messaging so that they convert. Therefore, the money you invest in paid marketing will give you a higher return on investment. If you're trying to work with paid marketing from the beginning or by not understanding your client, it's going to be very costly trying to learn of that while paying for Google Ads. So that's why I don't recommend it from the beginning. But then once you're ready to scale, you're more resourced, you're at a certain level of growth, and that can be different for different businesses. You want to amplify that because it saves you a lot of time. It puts you in front of people that maybe other avenues wouldn't put you in. But of course, it raises the client acquisition costs. So you balance that by having organic ways, so low-cost ways, and then paid ways of acquiring clients. Also, benefit of doing both is that it lowers your risk of becoming dependent just on 1 or 2 strategies. And I'll share you a story with you from one of my mentors and coaches just recently as to what happened to them. One of my mentors has been doing both, just like I'm teaching you. And part of their paid marketing strategy and part of their paid client acquisition strategy were meta ad. And then for whatever reason, through AI bots, their account has gotten banned. Not their personal account, but their business ad account has gotten banned. And even though she's a multi-million-dollar business, they're not still big enough for Meta to actually care about that. And they've tried many different routes to unlock it, try to get customer support from Meta, which is really non-existent. For the past 6 months or a year, they have not been able to run ads, which they relied on to bring in new leads, grow their audience, and then sell to them programs that my mentor offers. If that was the only route they were acquiring new client, her business would have gone out of business, right? She would have gone out of business. But because it's not, and they're really good at nurturing their potential clients and then organic marketing and selling, they've been able to sustain and still grow the business to multiple 7 figures because of that, while still figuring out ways to add paid lead generation. Another story that I want to give you is from one of my clients. He started relying too much on their organic client referrals and client coming back because in their mind, their business and brand has been established for many, many years. And in their mind, that they thought that would be enough. But again, with that complacency, their business stalled. It stopped growing just because that one strategy wasn't enough to accommodate for a client attrition. Their business had been established, so they've had clients who also retired, sold their businesses, and they didn't come back. And also slower economy where it's harder to acquire a client, or client needs more touch points, more time to make decisions. So we had to add more outreach and lead generation activities, not only to replace the sales that maybe they had a couple of years ago, but also get them back on the growth path. Having multiple ways to generate leads and then understand what they are and how you can amplify them, do them better so that they create a system or part of your client acquisition system is key. You need to look at it holistically and not as fragmented, disjointed things that I just do or my business just does to acquire clients, right? The second bucket of that system is consistent and valuable nurturing. Just because the statistics show that only about 3 to 9% of people that you get in front of are ready to buy from you now. And by people, I mean your ideal profitable lifetime client, not just random people who are not even looking for what you offer or are not considering, but people who are considering what you offer and they are looking for service providers like you. They're just trying to make a decision whether to hire you or somebody else. Only 3 to 9% are ready to buy now. So what happens with the other 81% that might have gotten in touch with you because they found you on social media, or they talked to a friend who is your client and highly recommended you, or they stumbled on your website while kind of starting their search, right? If you don't have a way to nurture them, to stay in touch with one or the other so you can be on top of mind, you are going to lose them. And you're going to lose many of them because that's 81% of your potential clients to competition. Because these people will buy at one point or the other, not right now, but maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in 3 months, maybe in a year. And you want them to buy from you. So having a nurturing component is key. The best way to nurture your ideal clients, especially if you have many of them and it would be hard to meet them in person or do coffee or send them individual emails or individual texts, is through email or potentially text marketing through client relationship management system. Your social media presence does some of that nurturing as well, especially if they're following you or you're connected with them on Facebook or LinkedIn and some other platforms. It's just with social media, you're relying on algorithm to show your potential clients your posts. And of course, that's usually the minority of your followers or people you're connected to that sees it. So don't get me wrong, I'm a huge proponent of social media, but it's just you don't have as much control of who sees what as you have in email marketing or text marketing through an CRM system. And as I mentioned previously, what I've noticed is that many small service businesses underestimate the value of nurturing and therefore don't utilize email marketing or underutilize it. So with all my clients, I establish a structure and add that to their client acquisition engine so that they have a consistent and valuable way to do that. And here are the benefits of that. Outside of nurturing, you get to add value for your clients. You get to educate them on things that may be helpful to them even before they hire you, whether it's via information about your industry, whether it's quick little tips that they can implement or use on their own. You can also educate them how to be a great client for you, with you once they start working with you. So then when they come and work with you, it's easier for you to service them because you took time to educate them on how you work and why you do certain things that way and what's your process and things like that. Nurturing also allows you to build a relationship and stronger connection with that potential client before they start working with you and shape the client experience on how they see you, as well as build a community around your business and around your brand. I started email marketing in my business as soon as I had maybe 5 or 10 subscribers into my email list. And honestly, when I started, I've never written a marketing email before. It's because my business was very new. And again, I still had my corporate leadership job at the time. And the emails that I were writing were emails to my team or executives, sometimes clients, but they weren't marketing emails. They were more operational service delivery related emails, or I was writing processes. So I didn't have a lot of experience, or I didn't really have experience in writing copy and marketing content. But I knew that I wanted to build relationship with clients and give them the value. So I started, I think, probably once a month, sending an email about whatever came to my mind at that time and building that connection. Because with email marketing, what you need to understand is maybe on your end, you're drafting one email and personalizing it through the features of your marketing system. But on the client end, they experience it individually. So they're reading the email from you, and they're not thinking that there's maybe 50 other people or 50,000 of other people reading a similar email. For them, it's very personal. So that connection can be built even though maybe you're not feeling it as much on your end. Another thing about having your potential client information in a system like that is that you're building an asset of that you own. You don't own your social media profiles. They could be banned, blocked, hacked any day. With your email list or phone number list, you own that asset, and that's a very valuable part of your business. Another thing you can do is, of course, sell via email. And depending on the service you offer, you can make direct sales. So let's say if your services are low cost or the client doesn't need a lot of touch points to make a decision, whether you're massage therapist, hairstylist, or even a mechanic or a tradesperson, you actually can get clients directly booking service with you through email. If you're more of a high ticket service provider and you do larger projects, maybe you're a designer, home organizer, a consultant like myself, then you can invite clients to have a sales conversation with you. But through the sales email campaign, you can almost pre-sell them on working with you. And you can answer a lot of their questions that will make that sales consultation much easier to run and then to close the client. And what also happens and what studies show is that customers who do buy via email and you build that relationship with are 81% more likely to stay loyal to you and keep coming back. So I can't stress enough the importance of having consistent and valuable nurturing as part of your client acquisition engine. And then moving on to the third bucket is the effective sales process. Same thing. Many business owners focus on the front end of this funnel, so gathering leads and investing in marketing and bringing people in, but then they lose them either through lack of nurturing or ineffective sales process. The process needs to be customized to your business, the type of business you're in, the industry you're in, the client you're trying to attract, and also the price of the services you are selling. I had a conversation not that long ago with a business owner who had a sales process that consisted of mostly like a 15-minute conversation with a prospective client. And for the lower ticket items, that's totally enough to close them. But of course, they told me when they were trying to sell their higher ticket items that were in $10,000s or tens of thousands of dollars, they weren't converting a lot of people. And I told them it's because you're not giving yourself enough time to have a proper conversation with your ideal client to then be able to close them. People usually do need more information and a little bit longer time to spend $10,000 than, let's say, $1,000 or $100. So how you structure your sales process matters, and it can drastically increase your conversion rate. And why is it important? Think about it. Let's say you're spending $100 to acquire 10 leads between your marketing strategies. And you're spending 10 hours to talk to those 10 leads. If you just close 2 and make $2,000, that might seem great. But what if you spend the same amount of money on the front end, spend the same amount of time, 10 hours to talk to the 10 leads, but then close 5 of them? And that's more than double your revenue, your sales, right? So sales process matters, and your sales skills are part of that process. So it's not only how you structure that client experience, but also you being skilled in leading the client through understanding how you can help them, the value of that, and the value of working with you over somebody else. And this process also should be lean, and by lean, balanced, meaning adjusted to your industry, not too short or not enough based on the price of your services. So again, if you're selling tens of thousands of dollars worth of services because of the projects and the type of business you are, it should be a little bit more than a 15-cent conversation, but also not too much given the services you provide. Let's say if you're a hairstylist or a massage therapist, you probably shouldn't have 2-hour-long conversation to book $100 or $300, $400 appointment. And when I work with my clients, I help them optimize that. So your sales process is really worth walking through step by step intentionally and then building it with intention, because it can make a whole lot of difference in how much money you make on the end of that funnel in relation to the money you spent to acquire the leads and the time you spent to nurture them and talk to them. And I do find that people are leaving a lot of money on the table, and if they don't have a sales process optimized, and when you do, also generally, your client has a way better experience with you. As I mentioned in the beginning, look at your client acquisition strategy and evaluate it against what I talked about in this podcast. See where your gaps are. And if you have major gaps, or you can't even see where your gaps are, then I have an offer for you. Book a free consultation with me, because it's truly like a strategy session. What do we do during that consultation? I review your client acquisition with you by asking you a number of questions, and I am able to quickly identify where your gaps are and then tell you that. That's very valuable information, whether we end up working together or not, because then at least you know what to fix and where. Now, if you want my help and end up working with me, then we'll create a very strategic, specific plan, how to optimize, how to fill the gaps that you have, or build the entire engine from scratch if that's what we need to do, and then we'll execute it together. I'll walk you through it and help you implement it step by step. So I will share the link to my free consultation in the show notes. Don't hesitate. Do it. Every minute you delay, it's costing you money. I promise you. Now, the second offer is, if you know that, hey, Maggie, I'm pretty good in lead generation and my sales process is tight, I'm converting at a high rate, and the only thing I'm needing is the nurturing part, then you might benefit from my Stop the Lull event, where in 5 hours, 1 hour a day, I will teach you how to use email marketing to sell your services. But with that, I'll also explain how to nurture and build that nurturing part of your system. I'll leave the link to register for that event in the show notes as well. Now, the event is mid-July, and if you're listening to this podcast past July 2026, you will not be able to benefit from it. But the free consultation is always available, no matter when you listen to it. So use that instead. Okay, the one last thing I want to add is that as you grow and scale your business and you keep adding leads and then your number of clients start growing, don't forget about delivery, right? You will need to adjust how you deliver your services and ensure that you keep delivering at the highest level, not so that you don't fall into the trap of businesses who grow too fast and then they forget about their back end and the client experience with the service delivery. And then they're unable to satisfy their commitments to the clients. And then their brand hurts and the clients are unhappy and they don't come back and all those things, because the growth just wasn't prepared for by the business on the delivery end. And that's a second pillar of my sustainable skill system, where when I work with my clients, we don't forget about that. We prepare for that growth, because I've seen it both ways. I've seen in my own career how business can prepare and execute growth really, really well. And I've also seen and been in the middle of fast growth where the business wasn't prepared to deliver, and how it affects not only the client, but also the employees of the business and the business as a whole. So I know both sides. Trust me, preparation is way better option. Talk to you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening today. If this podcast resonated with you, please come back. Also, you can leave a review on whatever platform you're listening. And if you have a suggestion, question, or a topic you would like me to talk about, let's get in touch via email. Email me at maggie@stairwaytoleadership.com. See you in the next episode.